So on Monday, March 27th, 2023, a shooter who was 28 arrived at the Covenant School, which was a private Christian academy, and they killed not only 3 adults, but 3 children as well. Now, it is now come out as well that the shooter, who is being named Audrey Hale, I don't know if that's like considered their dead name or not, I don't know, but either way, they're trans as well. So they were trans or gender nonconforming or something. So Nashville police revealed that the 28-year-old who shot and killed 6 people at the Covenant School, including 3 children, identified as transgender and had a detailed manifesto to attack the Christian academy. Officials said Audrey Hale, a former student, entered the school Monday morning by shooting through a door on the side of the building. While inside, Hale killed someone named Evelyn, not sure how to say their last name, but Evelyn, Haley Scruggs, and William Kinney, all age 9, as well as custodian Mike Hill and substitute teacher Cynthia Peak, both 61, and school head Catherine Kuntz at the age of 60. This is what I don't understand. Is like, how does anybody have the capability to murder children? I mean, to even murder is like, what the hell is wrong with you? But like, there's a new level of evil when you enact violence against children, innocent children who are just going to school for another fucking day of studying, and then you go blast that person to death. Because why? Because you're mad, because you're angsty, because you got bullied, your parents made you mad. You're going to see a lot of people clinging to this. You probably already have. It's like, look, all trans people are violent and crazy. Look, a trans person did a shooting. I'm sorry, but that's like, it's so incredibly rare. It's an anomaly. The fact that this is the person who carried the shooting out, that's a fucking anomaly, dude. This looks like the last person I would ever see shooting up anywhere. They look like they'd be the liberal afraid of guns. I guess I would say, like, there are some who I think are probably on the left who maybe at least feel tempted to try and, like, not play defense for the shooting, of course, but, like, play defense because the person's trans. Based on what I saw, it seems as though at least a few trans advocates are like advocating against the release of the manifesto because they're afraid of how it could have negative repercussions against trans people. And I'm not saying that's not even a valid concern. I am saying, however, that if we're going to release the manifestos of virtually every shooting that takes place, withholding one manifesto because the shooter happened to be trans is a double standard that actually I think might even do more harm than just releasing the manifesto. It's fucking stupid. We don't give people special treatment. There's no double standard here because you're trans. Like, the shooter may have been transgender. I don't care. They're a subhuman piece of trash, and I'm glad that they're dead. And I hope to God, if there is a hell, that they're there right now rotting. I don't need to be all walking on eggshells because they're trans. This doesn't reflect poorly on all trans people. It's a fucking bigoted mindset to have to begin with. If you look at one trans person doing something evil and wicked, and then you just attribute that to like all trans people. The idea that trans people are like a spokesperson for their group, that's part of the bigotry. This looks bad for trans people the same way that all the previous school shootings look bad for like cis white men. It doesn't make sense. You don't get to condemn the entire group because of one person carrying out an act of violence. Now, another thing I want to say is we're still waiting. The manifesto has not been released yet, so we don't know entirely like the full motive. We do know that this person obviously had a lot of problems at home with their parents not accepting them and a lot of other issues. But if they went to this school and purposely targeted this school because of the Christian beliefs and because they felt that that Christian belief was against their identity or something, and they took out the violence on those people because of their Christian beliefs, I mean, I would hope that this would be labeled a religious hate crime. Of course, Christians having these bad views of gay and trans people is really terrible, and that's something that we need to have a conversation on. That's why I have no problem debating those losers. But those people having bad and bigoted beliefs doesn't in any way justify just like gunning down innocent Christians. So if that were the motive, if it was specifically like, let's target this religious institution kind of thing, I hope it's labeled as a religious hate crime. And it's really important not only to be honest about that, but to not like mince your words. I feel like, again, there's like this temptation to just sugarcoat it or maybe pussyfoot around it because, well, they're trans, you don't want to. No. Fuck this person. They are literally a deranged subhuman piece of scum. If they go and shoot up other religious people, and that was the motive, that's a religious hate crime. Fuck them. Label it appropriately. We're not going to like play these little games where we label some shit hate crimes, but oh, a trans person was involved or a minority was involved, so, well, we better be a little nicer. No, fuck you. You killed children. You're a piece of shit. I'm glad you're in hell. And if you targeted them on the basis of their religion, file it as a religious hate crime. Police said Hale was equipped with at least 2 assault weapons and a handgun, and in searching her family home in Nashville, officers found detailed maps and a manifesto of the attack. We have a manifesto. We have some writings that we're going over that pertain to this day, said the police chief of Nashville. He added that Hale, quote, was prepared to do more harm than was actually done, and that she had drawn up plans to attack another school in the area, but backed out of them because the school was too secure. Asked whether Hale's identity could be a factor in the motive, Drake said authorities, quote, feel that she identifies as trans, but we're still in the initial investigation into all of that, and if it actually played a role into this incident. It's unclear whether Hale identified as a man or a woman at the time of the slangs. I thought they were like, people are saying they're like trans mask or something. I'll just go with they, them, okay? Not even the authorities seem to know yet whether or not the transgender identity had really any role in the actual tragedy that took place. But of course, this isn't stopping conservatives. Of course not. You've probably seen a bunch of the memes, actually, or it's the same meme getting shared around, where it's like 4 shootings in the past several years, and they show like this shooting was carried out by this person who was like trans. This shooting was carried out by this person who was like non-binary or some shit. And I mean, like, that's bad, okay? Like, yeah, don't shoot people, okay? Like, whether you're gay or straight, I don't care. Like, don't kill people. But it's just really ironic that conservatives will get up here and be like, where's the systemic racism, dude? What, only like 13 black people are killed by cops every year. Where's the big deal, dude? And then all of a sudden they're like grabbing their pearls so tight that their hands are just like constricting, cutting all blood flow off. Just like, in the last 6 years, there have been 4 shootings carried out by people who were not cis. This is a massive epidemic. This is the problem. Oh! It's like, no, you guys just don't like trans people. You're fucking looking at your newest opportunity. So you're going all in at like, well, they were trans. Did I mention they were trans? Did I mention they were trans? But you would be whining and crying your little bitch baby eyes out if everybody in regards to any other shooting pretty much was going, well, did you know he was a cis white guy? Did you know he was a guy? Did you know he was a man? He was a man, you know, right? Don't forget, man, okay? Penis equals gun. Man, men, spooky. Like, you could do this for any shooting that takes place. Shootings are tragic. Of course, you're going to see some people grasp onto this to slander one side or the other. And then, of course, there's always the conversation about gun control. It's one of those issues where I feel like it's treated like a dichotomy. No, it's mental health. No, it's guns. No, it's mental. It's not a dichotomy. It's not either or. It's literally both. It's making sure that people with potentially dangerous mental illnesses, such as this person appeared to have, they should not have guns. Gun control in regards to mental illness is what needs to be happening here. This isn't, well, instead of gun control, let's do mental health. Or instead of mental health, let's do gun control. It's both. Help people with their mental health. If they show signs of having potentially dangerous mental illnesses, restrict that person, control that person from acquiring a firearm. That's like definitely a frustrating one. And it's also frustrating that conservatives are like, well, it's a mental health problem. But okay, are you okay? How do you feel about like a healthcare option then? A government-funded healthcare option, like a public option, where people can access therapy for free? Well, that's just communism, you see. And then it's just right back to square one. It's like, okay, they didn't do the gun didn't do the shooting. The person holding the gun did. Like, yeah, that's the problem. The person who was holding the gun shouldn't have gotten the gun in the first place, dude. That's the fucking problem. That's what we know thus far. We're still waiting to see what is detailed in the manifesto. And you know what? If the manifesto comes out and it had a bunch to do with this person feeling oppressed by Christians and they wanted to take it out, then you might have an argument that, yeah, actually them being trans may have had something to do with motivating the shooting, or these people being Christian may have had something to do with motivating the shooting. That's going to determine whether or not it's labeled as a hate crime, etc. That's what we know thus far. Obviously, I'm waiting here with bated breath for the manifesto. Hopefully, law enforcement releases it soon, and hopefully they don't listen to the other like trans activists who are saying like, give special treatment to this one person's manifesto, don't release it because they're trans. Like, no, stop. And so this has just been an absolute nightmare, of course, for the families involved to lose your child. I mean, I'm a dad, you guys know I have 2 kids. My oldest is only 4, but man, to have a child who you've raised since the minute they have existed, to the age of 9 and then to lose them so abruptly is like, I don't even think I can really even imagine what that would be like. And if I wanted to, if I tried to, then I think that it would just result in me being so sad because it's the most tragic thing that I think anybody can go through. I think that the death of a child is probably the number one worst kind of loss one can suffer. I know I would rather be dead myself than have my kids die and live the rest of my life without them. So I feel so terrible for the families involved. I know that means nothing. It's about as good as doing the thoughts and prayers thing, but what can I say? It is just so fucking tragic, and I just hope that, I don't know, I just hope that somehow they're able to, they'll be okay. It's also like, think about like siblings. Like, when's my brother coming home from school? Like, these kinds of things are like excruciating to think about. So this has been just an absolute horrible nightmare that is actually reality, sadly. This nightmare is not over yet. So not only have children been killed, not only are a bunch of right-wingers now grabbing hold of this to somehow further demonize trans people, Biden butchered his response to this so bad. I actually was getting secondhand embarrassment for the guy. Okay. Now I know everybody's going to dogpile me. Oh, well, you voted for Biden. Yes, I did. And I still think Biden is far better than Trump would be. Sorry. But I also said it was lesser of two evils. Okay. Now what Biden said, it wasn't evil. It was just fucking stupid. Brace yourselves here, because Joe Biden's response not only was just so bad, it wasn't like oh, he had an awkward little slip of words and conservatives are grasping to the fact that he messed up his sentence. No, this was like a deliberate attempt at trying to crack a joke before talking about children that were just murdered. So let's go over here what Biden said. First, Biden introduced himself as Dr. Jill Biden's husband. Let's be honest, like, isolated is actually pretty funny. I think that's kind of clever. It's not the time to be clever or funny or, look, I'm a little jokester, ooh-woo, when you're about to get up there and talk about the 3 dead children. Like, that's just not the good time. And then the worst part of it is this, what he said. And I think he's joking, but it's the joke in this context that is just incredibly tone deaf. He says, "My name is Joe Biden. I'm Dr. Jill Biden's husband. I eat Jenny's ice cream, chocolate chip." They laughed. And then he says, this is the man. He says, "I came down because I heard there was chocolate chip ice cream. By the way, I have a whole refrigerator full upstairs. You think I'm kidding? I'm not." Here's a helpful hint, just really helpful hint, okay? When you're getting up on stage as the president of the United States to talk about a tragedy where a bunch of kids were just shot mercilessly in their own school, making like a joke that you're actually only there for the ice cream, bro, before getting into the like heinous shooting and we need to ban guns, it's just not a good move. And it's true in the sense that Trump would not have done something like this. Trump would have enough tact to like weaponize this to blame trans people. He would figure something out, but he would not get up there and make a joke that's like, oh, I only just came here first for the ice cream, you know? It feels like Biden isn't treating this with severity, and maybe his thought process is like, well, it's a really tragic time, a little comic relief never hurt anybody, but it's like, where the fuck are his advisors? Where the fuck are the advisors to step in and be like, hey, Biden, don't do that thing, okay? You prefaced it like you made a joke about the shooting. Did I? And no, he didn't make a joke about the shooting, but cracking jokes that he only came down there for the ice cream when the real reason he's there is to speak about the fucking shooting. It kind of is a joke in regards to the shooting, right?
My name is Joe Biden. I'm Dr. Joe Biden's husband. And I ate Jenny's ice cream, chocolate chip. I came down because I heard there was chocolate chip ice cream. By the way, I have a whole refrigerator full upstairs. You think I'm kidding? I'm not.
Okay, so that's all they showed too. But it's like, it's one of those things, it's like you just are giving Republicans stuff to make fun of you for. And it's not even Republicans, because I'm not a Republican, and I'm making fun of Biden for this. It's like every motherfucker knows that you don't crack jokes about ice cream before talking about dead kids. Like, you don't do it. No. But apparently over there in the White Houseville, it's not so black and white, not so obvious. Either way, it's just a complete and total tragedy, and the fact that 6 innocent people lost their lives, including 3 children, is just a tragedy that is hard to even fathom, honestly. It's just heartbreaking. But let's just not get caught up in blaming this all on trans people or whatnot, or let's not get caught up on just defending trans people at all. Like, let's just, wait for the facts to come out, and if this had something to do with them being trans, okay. If not, then, even more so, it's kind of embarrassing that these conservative types are trying to point the finger at trans people or transgender ideology, whatever that is. Either way, guys, thanks for watching.